Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by WorkHuman. Thanks for joining me for a quick update on what's important in the world of work. My name is Steve Boese. Today in the Workplace Minute, we're talking about work, but not productivity, not efficiency metrics, not quarterly earnings reports or shareholder value. We're going to talk about work itself and what it means to human life, why work matters so deeply to so many people, and why conversations about work are not just economic conversations, but rather they're conversations about dignity, purpose, hope, identity, community, trust, and our responsibilities overall to one another. The inspiration for today's episode comes from the newly released papal encyclical Magnifica Humanitas from Pope Leo XIV. And much of the public conversation around this document is focused on the sections that deal with artificial intelligence, automation, and digital tools. And yes, those themes are absolutely present throughout the document, and the Pope clearly sees AI and other emerging technologies as one of the defining challenges of our time, especially when it comes to protecting human dignity in an increasingly automated world. But honestly, as I spent some time reading the document, what stayed with me the most was not only the technology discussions. What stayed with me was the humanity underneath all of it. This is not fundamentally a document about machines. It's a document and a statement about people. It's about the value of human beings and the role that meaningful work can play in helping people flourish, to contribute, care for others, and to build lives that are filled with purpose and connection. One of the strongest ideas running throughout the encyclical is the belief that work is not simply a transaction. It's more than an exchange of labor and time for wages. Work shapes how people experience themselves and their place in the world. Through work, people support their families, help build communities, develop their confidence, contribute their skills, express creativity, solve problems, and participate overall in our society. Work often becomes tied to identity and belonging in ways that are emotional, social, and deeply personal. And this matters because modern conversations about work often become cold. They can be abstract. We'll talk about labor markets and talent pipelines and optimization and efficiency and productivity and just people as human capital. But sometimes buried beneath all of that language, we start to forget or lose sight of the actual human beings that exist in these systems. Work is very personal, and that's how work shows up in our lives. It enables a single parent to create stability for their children. It can give light and hope to a young graduate desperate for their first opportunity. Work often allows older employees to maintain their dignity and financial security later in life. It's often the gateway for immigrants trying to build a future in a new country. Work supports our caregivers who are balancing often impossible responsibilities while still trying to show up every day. And work can often help heal people who are recovering from hardships, who are hoping for another chance. For so many, work is a search for purpose, contribution, self-worth, and connection. And when people have access to fair, meaningful, safe, and rewarding work, the effects ripple outward in extraordinary ways. Families become more stable, communities get stronger, people gain confidence and independence, children grow up with greater security and opportunity. Individuals begin to feel connected to something larger than themselves. Good work creates dignity, not because a person's value only comes from their job title, but because meaningful contribution is one of the ways human beings experience fulfillment and agency in their lives. And I think that is at least part of what Pope Leo is trying to remind us all in this moment, that work at its best is not supposed to diminish people, it's supposed to help elevate them. Now, that doesn't mean that work is always noble or fulfilling. Millions of people experience work as, exhausting, unstable, exploitative, unsafe, underpaid, and really emotionally draining. Many workers can feel disposable, invisible, or trapped inside systems that demand more and more from them, while at the same time offering less security, less trust, and less humanity in return. And I think that the encyclical recognizes this tension very clearly. It acknowledges that modern economies and technologies can create enormous prosperity while still leaving people disconnected, isolated, anxious, and uncertain about the future. And that's one of the reasons why the document spends some time addressing artificial intelligence and automation. The Pope rightly raises concerns about what happens when technological systems become detached from moral responsibility and human care. And he warns against a future where efficiency becomes more important than humanity itself, and where workers are reduced to data points, where economic systems prioritize optimization over well-being, and where people begin to feel powerless inside systems they don't understand and can't control. But importantly, his message is not anti-technology. It's not a rejection of innovation or progress. In many ways, it's just a call for more wisdom, a call to remember that technology should serve humanity and not the other way around, that economic systems should strengthen communities and not weaken them, and that leadership should be rooted in stewardship and care and not simply extraction or control. And I think these ideas apply far beyond just the AI conversation. They apply to so many of the people processes that we must manage in our organizations. Hiring, compensation, scheduling, flexible work rules, well-being, development, recognition, trust, and safety are just some of the processes that call for humanity, care, and dignity. And they apply to our philosophy of work as well, and how we like to give people second chances, and how we can design systems that either widen or broaden access to opportunity, especially for groups like disabled workers, or are we quietly restricting those chances? Every leader who controls access to work and opportunity carries enormous influence over the lives of other people. And those people include HR leaders, executives, hiring managers, founders, policymakers, investors, and even the HCM technology builders themselves. Every one of them has a role in shaping human outcomes, whether they fully realize it or not. Because behind every application or employee is a person hoping for a chance. Every employee behind them is a family trying to build stability. Behind every workforce strategy is a community that may rise or struggle, depending on the decisions made inside organizations. And those choices that leaders make, they extend outward into homes, schools, neighborhoods, local economies, even entire regions. A compassionate workplace can restore dignity to someone who has lost confidence. Fair opportunities can permanently alter the trajectory of a person's life. A trusted manager can change how someone experiences work for years. And a safe and supportive culture can improve not just productivity, but emotional health, family well-being, and community stability. And the opposite is also true. Systems that create people as disposable eventually damage trust at every level. Workplaces that strip away dignity, fear, resentment, disengagement, and instability. Economies that concentrate opportunity too narrowly eventually weaken the social fabric itself. And I think one of the reasons why this encyclical from Pope Leo is resonating so much right now is because so many people feel that something important has been lost in our modern work lives. People want more than compensation alone. They want fairness, respect, safety, and meaning. They also want leaders they can trust, and they want to believe their efforts matter and that the future still contains opportunity for themselves and their children. And honestly, those are not unreasonable desires. Those are deeply human desires. So as I close today, I'll leave with this thought. If you are someone who controls access to work and opportunity in any way, whether you lead a company, hire employees, build workplace technology, shape organizational culture, influence labor policy, remember that your decisions carry enormous moral weight. They affect human lives, families, and communities. They even affect hope in the system itself. Work can uplift people. It can restore confidence. It can create families and opportunities. And it can create belonging and purpose. It can help people discover their own capabilities and values. It can become one of the ways people care for one another and contribute to the common good. And that responsibility deserves seriousness, empathy, and humanity. As technology continues to reshape the workplace, and as AI becomes more powerful, and as organizations continue searching for efficiency and growth, we can't lose sight of the human beings at the center of it all. Because ultimately, the future of work should still be about people. It should uplift their dignity, well-being, and opportunity, and their ability to live meaningful lives and to help others do the same. That's it for the show today. A big thank you to WorkHuman for supporting the Workplace Minute. Be sure to subscribe to the HR Happy Hour Network on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Boese, and this has been the Workplace Minute from H3HR Advisors.